You're listening to the dangerous mind of Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov. No excuses, no BS, no pants.
All right, pack your bags, but travel light because today we embark on an audio journey of an exploration of the Hairball Gold versus the Hairball Lola. Welcome back to the Microphone Playboy podcast. How you doing? So this is a comparison that I have been meaning to do for quite a while. What you're listening to right now is the BCM-104 going through the Hairball Gold, and I think it sounds pretty good. So the Hairball Gold and Hairball Lola preamps. These are available as DIY kits from Hairball Audio. And for those of you who are not into DIY, you can buy them already built. Hairball Audio is pretty awesome. It's a small boutique company that makes preamps and compressors. And they do make rack-mounted versions of the 1176, different iterations of the 1176 that I've never heard, but people say are really great. And they look like really fun kits to build. But I'm into the 500 series preamps, and they offer several. But the two I was most interested in, the two that drew me in like a moth to a flame, were the Gold and the Lola. And they're different, but they're also similar. So let's talk about it. So the Hairball Gold, what you're listening to right now, this is a clean preamp with a little bit of transformer mojo going on. And I suppose if you want to compare it to anything, you could compare it to the Hardy preamps, the Hardy M1 preamp, because it uses the same style Jensen transformers, input and output transformers. There are two transformers in the circuit, and they're both made by Jensen. And the Jensen transformers have a reputation of being very clean, but adding a little bit of weight, but not adding really any color. It's nice. So this combination of a little bit of transformer thickness, a little bit of that transformer squish, and the nice, clean, open sound of it makes this a really good candidate for voiceover. It also takes advantage of a very clean op-amp. It's using the Hardy 990 op-amp, also known as the Jensen 990. So the Jensen 990 and the Hardy 990 are the same thing. It's just a Hardy. Mr. Hardy makes the Hardy 990s. And those are also very clean preamps that have a nice, quick transient release. So what you're getting overall is a very clean sound with a little bit of muscle. I mean, I don't think you could find fault with this sound at all. All right, let's go to the Lola. All right, so this is the Hairball Lola. And they will sound a little bit similar at this point because I'm not driving it yet. But there is a little bit more muscle going on. There's a little bit more low-end thickness. And that has everything to do with the fact that the Lola is using a different set of input and output transformers and also a different set of op-amps. So the Lola is using what basically recreations of Neve-style transformers, of the Mariner transformers that are used Now, unlike the combination of clean-sounding transformers and clean-sounding op-amp, like the Gold, the Lola is going for color. So what you have here are recreations of Neve-style transformers, first of all. Input and output transformers are very much created in the Neve style, not by Mariner. These are Mariner. Mariner is the company that made the original Neve transformers. So every company, anybody who's trying to sell you a 1073, like an authentic style 1073, one of the first things they will tell you, one of the first things they are going to pitch to you in the marketing is that it uses Mariner transformers. So that is the legitimate style transformer. And, some people may say that they're not the same as they used to be, but they say that about everything, so hey. But these are recreations of these style transformers made by Ed Anderson. So you've got these Neve-style transformers in here, first of all. And those are giving you more low and low-mid coloration. but you're also combining that with these Neve-style op amps. So the op amps in the Lola, and the Lola takes 2 op amps, whereas the Gold takes 1. And those op amps in the Lola are based on the Neve BA512. So the difference between the BA512 op amp and the Hardy 990. So the BA512, it's got punch, it's got aggression, forward, tight low end, bold in your face sound, right? So really a great op amp for like rock music, drums. I think it adds a nice pleasing little level of harmonic distortion, especially when pushed. So we're going to push this thing in a second. It also adds a nice vintage vibe. So let's push this thing. We're going to push it. All right, this is me pushing the input more aggressively on the Lola. So before I had the output, there are two knobs on the front of the Lola. And one is your input gain and one is your output trim. So previously what you were hearing was me with the input gain set at about 12 o'clock, straight up, and the output gain set all the way. So there really wasn't much influence of pushing the transformer really hard. Now I've set the input gain to 3 o'clock on the dial, so there's more input gain. And the output gain is dialed back to about 11 o'clock. So it's not too dissimilar from the way you would drive a guitar amp if you wanted more of that tube gain stage. Now, in the absence of pushing the Lola, pushing the input like this, the Lola and the Gold may sound pretty similar. But now the Lola has a lot more of that vintage warmth. You can hear more character to it. And as I forgot to mention earlier, there's no EQ on this, so all you're hearing is the mic and the preamp. And overall, I would have to say that the driving the Lola gives it a bigger, bolder sound. You know, if you want to sound like you carry your huevos around in a wheelbarrow, the Lola may be your choice. But it's still clean enough to voice over with. It doesn't have that kind of, shall we say, low end grit that you find in a Neve. That's part of the Neve signature sound. So it's like a clean Neve. No, I do like this. I like this a lot. So let's go back and finish up with the Gold. Okay, here we are back on the Gold. And I feel like Bruce Banner after he's turned from the Hulk back into Bruce Banner. Except, my clothes aren't ripped. And again, when the Hulk gets big, when Bruce Banner gets big like the Hulk, right? And all of his clothes, his shirt rips off, but his pants don't rip. Why don't his pants rip? Oh, he's wearing spandex. The Hulk wears spandex. That's what we learned today. So this is the Gold, and this is set up with the input gain at about 12 o'clock, same as we started, and with the output trim set all the way open. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drive the input into the output, just like we did with the Lola. See what we get. See how different it is. So now I have it set the same way as the Lola when I was driving it, with the input gain at about 3 o'clock and the output trim at about 11 o'clock. And it really doesn't sound that much different. You're getting a little bit more transformer squish in there, a little bit more muscle, a little bit more. So overall, okay, what's the summary here? Okay, so Hairball Gold. More transparent, clean, high headroom, wide frequency response. And then the Hairball Lola, I think punchier, more vintage leaning, pleasing harmonic distortion, and full of character. And it should be said that Hairball Audio does create a more 1073 leaning preamp in their Element series. In the Element series, right, they have the Gold, they have the Copper, and the Bronze. And the Bronze is supposed to be more like a hybrid of an LA3A turned into a preamp. So it's got kind of a woolly sound to it, I think. It's a weird hybrid, but it's supposed to be very vintage sounding. The Copper is supposed to sound more like a 1073. The Lola kind of sits between the Gold and the Copper. But whereas I kind of feel like the transient speed of a 1073 is not quite there for what I want for voiceover, I feel like the Lola does achieve that. I feel like the Lola is a good VO candidate. And the Lola kit, actually, the Lola kit you can buy, I think, right now for $325. You can also buy it pre-built, but it'll cost you a lot more. And the Gold, the Hairball Gold, which, of course, again, you're listening to right now. This is a kit, I think this kit sells for $365 currently. So, they are, you can get really great stuff and build it and be like so proud of yourself that you built it and have a great sound to go along with it, which is the joy of DIY. And of course, you can find all of these at hairballaudio.com. So, what do you think? Are you Team Gold or are you Team Lola? Let me know. Which one do you like better? I like them both. All right, let me know in the comments. Until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.